All right, hello, greetings, and welcome everyone to this unusual video, I guess you could say. I'd originally planned on doing a news update, so the normal things go through the stories of the day and that kind of stuff, but one of these stories cropped up and it was so important in my opinion that I wanted to get a full scope of this particular story. So this is a news video, but it is a news video about a particular story, as you can see in the title, regarding Aptera being sued. So essentially what's going on is Aptera is being sued by a company called, and I kid you not, Zaptera, which ugh. Anyway, so they're being sued by Zaptera, and what I'm going to do in this video is go over the complaints and what I believe the outcomes will be based on said complaints. So let's go ahead and get started here. Alright, so complaints 1 and 2 are very similar. They claim that the two patents referring to the shape of the original Aptera with and without the wheels and wheel covers are basically the same thing as what Aptera is putting out now, which based on me looking at those actual patents, the shape is very similar. The differences are that they have solar panels integrated on the body and all that kind of stuff. Like this, the shape is what these two patents cover, both with and without the wheels and the wheel pants and things like that. And yeah, they do look very similar. Complaint number 3, I mean, it's honestly pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, complaint number 3 is just theft of trade secrets. I mean, they say that these patents are the same as what Aptera is designing and that they took those ideas from those patents that are not owned by Aptera, apparently, according to this situation. By the way, all of this stuff is alleged. It hasn't gone to trial yet, so we don't know if, it's gonna shake out the way that Zaptera wants. I am certain that most of us hope it does not. But yeah, basically, number 3 says theft of trade secrets. Claim number 4, or rather, I should say, complaint number 4 is called Tortious interference. Now, Tortious interference is a little bit of a weird one. Long story short, Zaptera is saying that Aptera convinced the party that owned the IP to sell that IP to Aptera in violation of an agreement that Zaptera had with said party, or that, or something to that effect. Like it's a little bit muddy when I read through it, so don't hate me if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I got the gist of what's going on. They're saying that, hey, they were selling something that they didn't have the right to sell because we own it, so that's not cool. So that's what that complaint is saying. Complaint number 5 was basically unjust enrichment, which again is pretty topical, pretty self-explanatory. Zaptera says that Aptera made money off of their IP without giving Zaptera a cut. Complaint number 6 is basically violation of a very specific section of California law. That particular section deals with unfair business practices according to the definition of said law, which sounded like, based on what I could actually read of it, that they are specifically saying that Aptera misrepresented the above narrative to the public, the complaints as they exist. They're saying that's the right narrative, and Aptera presented their own incorrect narrative that they are now suing for. The last piece of this complaint is that they want a jury trial as a result of the alleged infractions in order to figure out what's what in front of a jury and in front of a judge and things of that nature. So, yeah, that is the basic set of complaints. I see more or less three outcomes from this case based on the complaint, and they are all hinging upon basically a single point. Who owned this IP? So Zaptera says that they owned it. Aptera says that Idea Labs owned it. And, you know, there's a thing here. So depending on how this shakes out in court, if Zaptera owned the IP, then I see a future where Aptera might not exist anymore, or worse yet, they are put into new management, and I'm assuming Zaptera is going to want a cut of whatever this new company or corporation makes, which is going to make the vehicle that we reserved more or less a moot point, and all of the investments that the investors made a moot point, unless Zaptera is really nice and says, you know what, we're just going to honor the fact that you guys bought all this stuff, which is unlikely in my opinion based on how they formatted this complaint and the wording of the complaint. But yeah, so that's one issue, one outcome. If Zaptera owned it, then Aptera will probably cease to exist. The second situation, if Aptera was correct in buying this IP from a different corporation that actually owned the property, then they would be able to just basically continue on as normal. This is the outcome that I personally want, because it makes the most sense for all investors and all reservation holders and the future of that particular company. Basically, it prevents us from wasting a bunch of time, energy, effort, and money, and in my case, time making videos about them. The last and possibly most interesting situation here would be if both Zaptera and Idea Labs both owned this IP because of some sort of clerical error or something of that nature that allowed them to buy it from Aptera at the same time, or something like that. If that ends up being the case, if the IP is jointly owned, then I imagine that is going to be some strange amalgamation of the first two situations. So probably some kind of oversight, or Zaptera taking a cut of Aptera's profits or something of that nature. I could see them having to work out some kind of deal based on you know, how much of each thing that they owned, or how much work that Aptera's put into it compared to Zaptera in making a new vehicle. Zaptera has not done anything with their IP as far as I understand it. This lawsuit and the company Zaptera sounds like some kind of patent troll situation, just based on my reading it. So yeah, that seems like the likely case, and that Zaptera is going to end up being found in court to be just a bunch of patent trolls, and I hope that that eventuality plays out, because that is the one that will be most beneficial to the people that are already fans of Aptera, and people that are coming into the Aptera fold, and people that have reservations, and people that have invested. It would just be best overall for all the parties involved, except of course for Zaptera, who, again, I don't know these guys, and the more I research them, the less the more I research them, the more the questions that I have about them, which, you know, is never a good sign, because it just feels like they're a tangled web of, you know, weird business practices or backwater. Like, it doesn't seem like they are a legit company based on my research. Now, it is possible that they are, but I deeply doubt it, because I cannot find anything about Zaptera being a reputable company that's produced something. So, yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know how this is going to shake out. I think, like I said, it is likely that they are just patent trolls, but we'll find out sometime in the future what happens there. A couple of things that I am fairly certain of is that I believe that Aptera will probably end up having to fight this in court, which is pretty unfortunate because that will just mean that the vehicle comes out that much later. Me personally, I'm actually kind of furious with Zaptera because they are delaying my Aptera in my driveway. Zaptera's not making any friends with this lawsuit, so I'm assuming that they have some kind of belief that they have a chance, which of course is the reason why they brought the complaint. But yeah, I'm not a fan of them. I can't find anything, substantial or worthwhile about them. They exist in the ether somewhere, and they just like jumped out the woodworks and said, hey. So anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on this particular complaint, on this court filing. One thing that I did notice, which was kind of hilarious to me, was that they made quite a few grammatical and numerical errors in their assessment. I don't know if, those are things that Aptera can bring up in court, like, hey, this isn't even a well-written whatever. I don't know. I don't know how courts work, if I'm being perfectly honest. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, they didn't bother to type up a good argument and make sure that it was grammatically error resistant or grammatical error free. So yeah, I got nothing good to say about Zaptera right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get off here before I start rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am the Ninjaneer. Give me your thoughts and comments in the sections below. Please like and do other YouTubey things, and I'll catch you guys on the long form news video that will have apparently a ton of stuff in it. I was trying to wait for Aptera to release their update video for August, but yeah, I could not in good conscience not talk about this court case thing, because it is something that will potentially affect investors, and when the vehicle comes out, and it's a really, really big deal potentially. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you next time.